What's going on, guys? It's your boy CMB. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and let's get into this one really quickly. Now, guys, we're just coming off of a great fight this past weekend. We had ourselves a WBA lightweight title eliminator. It took place in Las Vegas, Nevada, guys, at the Cosmopolitan. We had Michelle Rivera, the Muhammad Ali lookalike, taking on the protege of Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., Frank Martin. Both of those guys were undefeated going into the fight, and Frank Martin did win a unanimous decision, guys, even dropping Michelle Rivera in the 7th round with a straight left hand. I did have Rivera as the favorite going into the fight. I thought that, the experience, him being the taller, rangier fighter would play a big factor in the fight, controlling Frank Martin with the jab, keeping him on the outside, even though Frank Martin was going to pressure him. But it was the complete opposite. Like I said in the last video, Frank Martin nullifying the jab of Rivera and putting on a boxing clinic, guys. Excellent performance from Frank Martin. Taking my hat off to him. He even called out some of the bigger guys at 135. So we're going to see what happens next with that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., who was at the fight, of course, supporting his fighter. And he did an interview with Brian Custer. And Brian Custer, of course, brought up the fact that Terence Crawford was on his podcast. And he said that Terence Crawford said that he had done everything that he could to make that fight happen between him and Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. Now, of course, Errol had a response. I got the response pulled up here, so I'm going to read it to you guys and give you guys my take on the whole situation with Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. So let's get my laptop here, guys, and we're going to read over what he had to say. So he says, this is Errol Spence, I'm quoting. He says, "If he did everything he could to make the fight happen, the fight would have happened. Unfortunately, he didn't," says Spence to Brian Custer, reacting to being told that Terence Crawford said to Showtime that he did everything he could to make the fight happen between them. He went about it the wrong way. If it was on the up and up and said, "Hey, I've been talking to these guys. I'm fighting this guy, David Avanesian, for $10 million. It's an easy fight. I'm going to make this money real quick," I'd probably let him do it. I'd have said, "Go get your money." The way he went about it and trying to blame my side for messing up the negotiations, I feel like that wasn't right at all. Hopefully, I can spin that block again, go to negotiations and try to fight him, because it's a fight I really want with him. So hopefully we can make it happen next year. So that's what Errol Spence had to say about Terence Crawford, saying that he, did everything he could to make that fight happen. And honestly, guys, I hear a lot of the back and forth here on YouTube with the pro Errol Spence fans, with the pro Terence Crawford fans, with the pro Terence Crawford channels, with the pro Errol Spence Jr. channels. And honestly, this is just one of those things where it's a different point of view. Both of these guys are seeing it from a different point of view. Terence has seen it from one end, from his view, that they messed up the negotiations. And of course, Errol's going to see it from his point of view. But the most important thing is that both of these guys said that they still want the fight. You heard Errol say it here himself. I can spin that block again and go to negotiations and try to fight him because it's a fight I really want. We heard Terence Crawford say the same thing. It's a fight that he really wants. He's willing to go back into negotiations with Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. to make this fight happen, because I think both of these guys know this fight between these two is a legacy fight. And, you can only have one king of the 147-pound division. They got all the belts, so it's going to happen. In my opinion, it's going to happen. Now, of course, Errol did mention that he's looking to make an announcement about a fight coming up sometime in between May and July of next year. So we're going to wait and see what that is. It could be Keith "One-Time" Thurman, of course. It could be Terence Crawford. We don't know. But honestly, I think it would be nice if he did face off against Keith "One-Time" Thurman, get himself a nice little tune-up with a mover like Keith Thurman, who's a mover like Terence Crawford, before going into the fight with Terence Crawford. We can have ourselves two great fights with two great fighters with Errol Spence Jr. This year. So I think that would be the right move. I know Errol Spence says he doesn't take tune-ups, but when I'm looking at Keith Thurman, I don't really look at Keith Thurman as a tune-up fighter. He's a great fighter. He only has one loss. Of course, he's been inactive. A lot of that due to injury and, some things that, some decisions that he made. We can't count that, out either. He did make some bad decisions and he got himself in this position. But I still think, he has the ability to give the top guys problems. And I think this will be an excellent fight for Errol Spence Jr. because he hasn't been in the ring with a particular guy of Keith Thurman's ilk. So we're going to see what happens. I'm just happy that both of the guys still want the fight. That means it can happen. Sometimes negotiations don't work out. Things don't work out the way we want them to. They don't work out in the time frame that we want them to. But the good thing is they can go back into negotiations and make it happen. So you guys tell me what you think about what Errol Spence Jr. had to say to Brian Custer about why he thought that the fight didn't happen and that Terence Crawford was basically at fault for it. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.